It's Monday night, it's RaceSpotTV. We are back once again for a brand new season here on, well, I've already said it, RaceSpotTV. Where am I going today? I have no clue, but where you are is in OKayama, Japan, as we get ready for the first round of a whole new season. And wow, things are definitely going to step up a notch here as Rich White for Linus Brostrom joined for the season. Jack Hobbs, our champion, doesn't appear to be in the race this time, but we've got some familiar names at the top. Antonides, Edwards, Hughes, Halliburton. The season has the feeling they're getting spicy, Linus.
It really does, and all the top names again are back at the top of the qualifying sheet at the moment. However, we are missing our reigning champion, so this could go anyone's way at the minute, obviously, since it's the first race, and it's really, really tight as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how today will play out.
Certainly will be, as we get ourselves ready for this one today. And we'll be doing around this 11-turn track, 14 laps. We'll be getting ready in just a few seconds' time. Qualifying is nearly over here as OKayama plays host to Monday at Skippys once again. Weather today, what is 74 degrees Fahrenheit outside, clear skies and 97 track temperature. Southwest winds 4 miles an hour and low actually pretty high humidity, 82. As it's 29 inches mercury here at OKayama, Japan. And we always talk about the slick tarmac, Linus, but this is a track everyone should know very, very well here, as this is one of the oldest tracks, of course, in the service, and one of the most famous for the Skippys.
Yeah, this is, at least when I started iRacing, this was one of the first tracks you would do in the Masters, so pretty much everybody will have driven a lot around here that's on iRacing if you've done roads, so it's everybody should know it pretty well. Obviously there is still time to gain at all times, and still easy to make mistakes, especially in a race like this where you need to be really fast the whole time. And Japan is not very well known for having good grip in their tarmac on iRacing, so, and not in real life either for that matter, so anything can still happen, and I think we're in for a cracker of a race here as we see a lot of cars going around and going off in qualifying as well.
Yeah, we certainly are. That's one thing we need to keep an eye on, of course. Getting themselves a little bit sideways. It's something we see a lot at OKayama, but the car has changed a little bit too. So that's one thing to keep an eye on, of course.
Yeah, I think most of the drivers will have done a lot of practice for today though, and we have a pretty big turnout as well. At the moment there is 55 cars with a set time for qualifying, so there's a lot of racing to be seen today as well.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. Qualifying checkered flag is up, and we're going to get ready to go to your starting grid for tonight. Of course, these drivers not quite finished those laps, but they'll be getting themselves off here in a few moments' time, and we'll be able to see exactly what we face in this race. And well, with those big names at the front of qualifying, Linus, Antonides may have cured his allergy of qualifying. This could be a big race.
Yeah, he really struggled last season, and well, today he improved his lap time actually and went on pole position there with his very last lap, as you could see on screen. So he has very much got over that lacking of qualifying performance by putting it on pole. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
He's been
we'll go.
Go on.
We'll go on. I was going to say we'll go to your starting grid. Antonides does indeed go to pole with a 142.326. Anthony Cat pips out Simon Edwards at the last moment. The Cat got the cream there with 142.396. We've got Simon Edwards in third place with Claire Hughes and Kane Halliburton in fifth. Ewan Patterson, Simon Povey makes a triumphant return in seventh. Clark Williams in eighth with Daniel Hunt. Nicholas Fortin Roberts in 10th place. Behind them is Lee Anderson, Andrew Leach, S.J. Dunning, James McRitchie, Cameron Barker in 15th place with Christopher Keeble in 16th. Pete Newman making a return to the series in 17th. Some big names coming back. Our own Paul Smith in 18th with Kieran O'Flynn and Jake Riddington running at your top 20 of this whopper 58 car grid. Well, Linus, we're taking to that grid now, and some huge names coming back here for this one. Feels like we've gone back in time.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of drivers. It's been a while since we saw this amount of cars on the grid, but it's nice to see that they're all back here for the season opener, and let's just hope they can keep these numbers up for the whole season, because that would be absolutely amazing with some of the tracks that we got coming up. And it's, like I said before, 55 cars have set times in qualifying. There are 56 cars on the grid with Anthony Jones and 56 not having set a time. So it's they're all the way back into the last corner, which conveniently is named last corner. So that'll be one to remember as well.
Oh yeah, Japan's not a particularly original country when it comes to naming corners on tracks, as they're all first or last corner, or wiggly corner, middle corner, and slightly S-shaped curve. Now I'm making these ones up, but there is literally, there is actually one called hairpin first and last corner. In fact, we have first and last corner at this track, but I think I made up slightly S-shaped curve. I don't think Japanese track has that, but one might surprise me. But even though, race gets ready to start here. 14 laps. It's going to be slippery. The cars are going to be a handful, and the drivers are going to be a little bit raw after a week off. We'll have to see what happens. Engines get ready to rev up here. We've got about 30 seconds left before we go to green here at OKayama. Of course, first lap, not such a big challenge here into the first corner, short run. Then it's got an S curve into the middle straight, up towards the back, and things get spicy there, of course, on the big first long run down there with cold tyres. Big dive across there by Halliburton early on to get himself jumped in line. As it's side by side into turn 1, as up the inside comes Cat, looking for Fim Antonides, but not going to really do it here. Antonides will still have the inside for the next corner, although it's a big early challenge and a statement there from Anthony Cat, saying exactly where he wants to be in this season. And Linus, he has to drop back in line.
He did. He got the outside for that second corner, but I don't think Antonides expected him to move up like that. So Antonides had to go really wide around.
Oh, contact!
Oh, go on.
Nicholas Vaughan Roberts goes round in turn 4 there, and it's a big, big crash as he steps out sideways, and there is nowhere to go for the 787 there of Dunning, who just has to kind of tap him a little bit. No, he dodges him just. Oh my gosh. It wasn't Dunning that hit him. It was actually the car of the 42 machine there of Jake Ridlington, who plows that car. And he gets tipped into Tim Adcock. And oh my god, everybody else misses them apart from those 2 cars. That could have been a huge disaster, but it was smaller than I thought there in the end. But disaster ahead for him. As we have another car off, that was Clark Williams, I think. Yeah, it was in the middle straight there. Clark Williams, as we look back, turn 8. Comes in side by side with the machine there of the 26, Daniel Hunt. Hunt holds the inside line, as he's every right to do. Clark came across where there's no room, bumps into Hunt, and gets the shunt into the tyre barriers, then tries to recover himself to the grass. It's World War III here already. I don't know what's going on with this one, but things are definitely getting spicy.
They really are, and Cameron Barker went off as well, as we saw there on the replay. But meanwhile, for him, Antonides is still in the lead. Ahead of Anthony Cat, Simon Edwards, Leah Hughes, Kane Halliburton, and Ewan Patterson. So the top 6 are staying as they were. And James McRitchie has moved up from 14th to 9th on that first lap. So he had an amazing start, avoiding Vaughan Roberts when he got sideways there as well, coming up the hill. So a good start for them, and they've actually pulled a little bit of a gap as well from him down to Leach by about a second and a half. So the top 9 are in a group for themselves at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly are there, and they're going to do what they can here to keep the cars moving around the racetrack, but things are just getting warmed up here on lap number 2, cutting down the back straight there. Anthony is with a good gap as Edwards now makes a move here, and Anthony Cat looks to the inside for the hairpin, which is, again, like Nina said, called hairpin. Behind them, Claire Hughes also looking to get involved in this one. Edwards makes his move up there. Gets this done nice and easy. And I have noticed a disappearance, Linus, if you will, of Mr. Adcock. Where did the Adcock go? And a return of... Oh my gosh! I only just noticed it at the timing of scoring, but a return of Paul Thurston. What is this miracle? And it wasn't Adcock, so it was Simon Povey. I was wondering what happened to him, and he made his return to the season, and I'm going to quickly look back and see exactly what led to this, but I don't know, because I'm sure he started. He was on track, and it was, I believe, lap 1 incident for him. Nothing. No, I don't think he started. Okay, so technical issues there for him, but Paul Thurston's back. I'm happy again. We get to talk to him afterwards.
Yeah, hopefully, if he shows up, I think he will, because he usually does. A weird one day with Simon Povey, because he was on the grid, but he is not scored as in the race. That is weird. Oh well.
Yeah, maybe he had some technical issues on the starting grid there for him.
Probably did. But at the front of the field we still have, oh actually we have Paul Smith. We have actually a live look here at Paul Smith in his rig racing, as you can see him on track here going side by side. Oh, contact in front, that's somebody going off, and Smith actually misses him. But that's Paul Smith, you can see live on the left as he's driving his car. And currently I think he's in 17th now with that car going off in front of him. And that car was Kieran O'Flynn, I believe.
Was O'Flynn there, as cars are definitely finding it a tough start to the season here, as Paul Smith's library and sim rig room gave us a good taste of his driving there. The flat cap included. Love to see that. It's a very kind of 1960s Formula 1 look there, the flat cap and the racing gloves. I love that one, Paul Smith. Thank you for sharing your onboard view with us. As out front, actually starts to open that gap again. Maybe what I've done to the car this time around has really been to his liking, because he's certainly doing a good job of this one. Simon Edwards up there as well. The old guard have returned to the front of this race in fine fashion. Behind him, Edwards, Cat, Hughes, Halliburton, Patterson. Hunt is still up there after his collision with the car of Clark Williams. That was it. My brain wasn't functioning again. Gritchie in top 10th place is going to be Leach, so bigger mover in the top 10. Lee Anderson 11th to 7th. We've also got 14th to 9th from McRitchie, so there's some good movers going on here, Linus. We've also got 17th to 11th, Pete Newman. And that's a car I've not seen in this series in almost forever.
Yeah, it's a lot of old names that's coming back into the series. It's good to see, and you can see Newman going through the Mosses here, coming down towards the bottom of the hill in Attica, going to climb up this. It's actually a very, very steep hill, and I don't know if these cars get up to speed up this hill because they're so underpowered, but he seems to be getting up there well, as we have a side-by-side for second place. That's Lee Hughes, and he's going around the outside of Edwards, and he's going to clear him before the corner even. With Cat behind trying to make a move as well, but he has to back out, so this is exactly what Fahim wants to see, these guys battling each other, going side by side as much as possible. He's just opening up that gap every single lap now, and Lee Hughes up to second place, so he's on a charge.
Certainly is on a charge there. Clay Hughes pushing his way through here as he gets ahead there of Edwards, and this is exactly what Antonides wants, Linus. He wants to have cars battling behind him, because that's exactly the golden recipe to break the draft in the Skippy and to run off into the sunset. There'll be a lot of frustrated cars in that second pack there, as Clay Hughes, well, he just wants his spot. No one's going to take the chance from him.
Nope, they are not, and we will see this time by. Oh, as he goes wide. I don't know if he got a slow down or if he just went wide in the grass, but he's really slowed down the straightaway. I think maybe he just lost traction out in the grass, and he's going to drop all the way down to 5th place here as Halliburton comes by. And here comes Pattinson as well, trying to look, but he's not really going to be able to make a move. So Fahim Antonides opened up that gap by 8/10 in that one lap. So it's now up to nearly 2 seconds for Fahim Antonides, as you can see him disappearing out of view. They're well ahead of the other cars. So Simon Edwards back in second place again.
Yeah, certainly is there. As well, that went exactly the way we thought it would. As getting wide at this track is always going to be a punishing one for you, as well, it does seem though they've managed to at least move forward with this one and do something with it. Out front there, look at that Cat and Edwards side by side here. Still trying to chase Antonides, but Antonides is now well and truly out of that draft range, past 2 seconds now. And it'll be Cat back into second place. Edwards and then Halliburton. Behind them we have the 43 there of Hughes. With him, Ewan Patterson, Lee Anderson just behind that group on the tail end there. And Daniel Hunt's still there around about, is the case, so a lot of these drivers still pushing forward. So we'll take a quick look at our man with no plan. Mr. Oh my god, I think he's crashed. Paul Thurston, he has. Back in 48th place, Mr. Thurston is traipsing around on his own. I'm sure you'll tell us what happened to him afterwards, but bit of a donk, I think, for the Thirst, as he's no longer anywhere near the rest of the pack. Qualified in 37th, a huge field, I must admit. Back in 43rd now, so he's had some trouble from what we can imagine. Normally a top 20 driver, Linus, of course. Something's definitely gone wrong for this one.
Yeah, I think it was in the pits on the end of lap 2, so he must have had a contact with somebody, maybe got involved in one of those bigger incidents without us being able to see it, or just missing it with all the action going on at the front. But it's still Cat leading the way from Simon Edwards, and Antoniadis is now opened up the gap to 2 seconds, so another 1/10 and a half on that last lap. So they are not catching him whatsoever. They're not working together at all.
Little bit further back, Adam Parl in the 15. He is running back in 16th place, looking for 15th. He's chasing Daniel Tufts right now, and Christopher Keeble up ahead, and I guess Daniel's making it rather tough for him to get through. Okay, I'll get my coat. I'm bad even for this season already. As Tufts is going to make a move there on Keeble, making very little room between those two cars. He's trying to force the door wider. Not sure why it is so close when being on the outside would be a benefit for him, but there you go. Some people make strange decisions. Parl sitting outside, maybe looking to try and sneak through on the inside with Keeble. Doesn't get it done just yet, but the inside held there by Tufts. He'll have the inside to 7 as the door closes there, right there next to Parl. Parl just managed to basically hold himself out there. This is all round Tufts goes, trying to avoid Morris, or 4 wide here as Parl will sneak through the middle there into the first of the two 90 degree or 180 degree corners here towards the end of the lap, and it's now Keeble and Parl. Parl on the outside. It's all right-handers from here, so advantage Keeble, I've got to say, but that's been some fantastic racing in one of the tightest parts of the track.
Yeah, we had a
contact
there, so go on.
Contact with Parl there at Keeble as Keeble just forced his way over, and even bigger contact now as Parl ends up
crash.
Yeah, Parl ends up hooked up there with, I believe that's the number 2, Paul Smith. Oh, that's our man. That is our gentleman indeed, Paul Smith there. As he caught a curb, his back end stepped out, hooked onto the wheel of Parl, and they rode themselves off into the dirt as behind them as well. Maltby and Parnell had a crash right behind there. Oh, Smith, I'd love to see what that was like from his point of view there, Linus, but he just seemed to step out the back, and his car hopped across the curb almost.
Yeah, I think he just drifted out a bit and collected the car that was next to him. It's very unfortunate, but with that car going wide, it kind of slowed him down and put them all in an awkward position, so not really much they can do. And at the speeds they're going around there, just not enough traction coming onto somebody, and then they just climb each other, unfortunately. Back at the front though, we've got some action going on. Edwards is up into second again, now 2.4 behind Antoniadis. Cat behind them, and then it's Halliburton and used in 5th, with Pattinson still looking to pass Hughes, but these guys are looking for gaps all over the place all the time, and 9th place is now really closed up to this group again, so it is an 8-car battle for 2nd place pretty much.
Yeah, it really seems to be that way there, as things getting very spicy on the field right now, as this 2nd place through like 10th is an absolute conga line. Everybody in one place here, just back to front, back to front, back to front through there, as occasional passes are attempted, but it's really not seeming to be one of those races where people make a lot of moves there. As I say that, Ewan Patterson had a little look-see, sniff-see at Claire Hughes there. Didn't get anything quite done with it, but again, people are looking, they're just not jumping.
No, he just couldn't really get close enough there as Hughes drifted out a little bit, but here comes Cat coming through the S's, but he's not going to be close enough again. Hughes is late on the brakes as well. See who can get the best drive up the hill here. Halliburton, gets a really good run. He gets really close to Cat. Cat gets the draft though off Edwards, who is not getting any draft of Antoniadis, so you can see well down ahead of him. So they're side by side here. Comes Halliburton, he dives to the inside, he's going to make it 3 wide. Edwards backs out early, and it looks like Cat is going to get the lead in this group. He does.
Getting very close indeed there, as Cat has the lead, but still side by side there. Halliburton and Edwards, as it's tight coming out of turn 7. Oh, contact there briefly between Edwards and Halliburton. Now to the inside will dive Hughes, but Hughes isn't going to be able to take advantage of that one just yet. It's 2 by 2 by 2 there in this 2nd pack. Things getting very active, and Antoniadis is trotting off in the distance. They fought so much cleanness, they've basically gave their own race away. Antoniadis is over 3 seconds now. He's realistically uncatchable on lap number 8 of this 14-lap race. I mean, unless something goes wrong for him, but these guys have battled so hard, they've given up the time.
They really have, and that little side-by-side between Cat and Hughes back there as well. Edwards and Halliburton. wrong names all the time. Has let Cat pull away slightly as well from Edwards. He's got a 9/10 gap at the finish line, so if Halliburton puts another move on Edwards here, Cat could be setting off for an easy second place as well. Say easy, but it's never easy, but obviously he can pull away if he gets a good lap and they don't, so they will have to start working together now coming down this next straightaway, or second place could be gone just as well as the first places.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, and well, second place is starting to also pull some legs, like Lena's mentioned there, as everyone looking to get their cars cooled down. This is one thing we remember about OKayama, of course. It's definitely a track where cooling matters a lot, Linus. The engine temperature is always a problem in a Skippy, and it seems to have been calm this last season, but that's because drafting wasn't so powerful. It seems like they'll suck up a lot closer now.
Yeah, it looks like they do. They might have changed something again and gotten a bit more draft in these cars. So you can close up a bit more, and being right behind someone, you're not getting any cooling into the engine whatsoever, and air temps isn't that high today, so it won't be that much of a problem, but you can't be too close to somebody for too long, because your engine will go pop straight away, like we saw a lot of about a year ago.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
Is slightly closing in on Cat again, so they might be able to get that battle going for second place by the end of the next lap.
Well, here's certainly hoping, of course. That would be one fantastic way to actually wrap this one up here. It's actually having a fight there for second place, but right now Edwards has to focus on the guys behind him, attacking Kane Halliburton and Claire Hughes, all looking for a slice out pie and a podium spot here. They just see the chance for third. They don't see the fact that this is a chance to try and actually hold off or try and catch second.
Yeah, I don't really know what their plans are here, but obviously everybody wants to be as high as they can, and we got the likes of Daniel Hunt back in 7th. He obviously sees that chance at a podium position. He hasn't really gotten higher than 7th in this race, but he's there all the time just looking for gaps everywhere. Pattinson is all overused as well. He used to be anyway, but he's dropped back slightly this lap as well, so they're starting to kind of spread out now over the last couple of laps here, as we are on 4.5 laps to go, so maybe this will settle down a bit and spread out.
I certainly hope that'll be the case, but I don't necessarily think it will go that way, as the gap to Cat is definitely closed in here. And around the Cat's tail is Simon Edwards. He's brought that gap down, but he's definitely got Kane Halliburton here posing a massive, massive threat. Pete Newman, he's up into 11th still. He's not really moved at all from that point. As a little bit further back, Tufts has got away, but we've got a massive knot here around 15th place. Keeble, Maltby, Taylor, Parl. This is absolute pandemonium here, Linus. Look at this. There's cars everywhere.
Yeah, 3, almost 4 wide down the back straightaway, and side by side through the whole inside section, and now just because we're looking at them, they're starting to spread out. But here comes, well, that's Keeble at the front, so it's Taylor and Maltby going side by side behind him. Taylor got that position though, as Maltby's trying to get to crossover here, but Taylor closes the door. Now he's got Jackson right behind him trying to capitalize, but they're going to be side by side here for the last couple of corners, and coming onto the front straightaway here again out of last corner. It's going to be a lot of drafting going on, and I expect a move coming down here towards first corner.
That wouldn't be an unrealistic assessment there to think of that, but we'll keep an eye on it and see what they do with it. But it doesn't seem to have been chosen yet, although Maltby stuck his nose in for a look. Nothing came of it.
Jackson is trying to get back though on Maltby, but he can't do anything either, so they're still going to be nose to tail. See, when they come up the hill once again, which is where they were almost 4 wide on that last lap, they're not quite as close as they were last time, I don't think, but Anthony Jones is trying to the outside here of Jackson, going to try and get a massive run up the hill, as we got Tufts leading this, well, he's actually pulled away from this group, and Parl as well, so that's Keeble. Taylor making a move on Keeble. Maltby dropped back slightly, they're side by side behind him now, Jackson and Jones, so almost contact wheel to wheel there between Keeble and Taylor, but Keeble is going to hold it on the inside, and back there Jackson, oh, he's going to hit Maltby, and Maltby gets collected by the 81 of Tony Stack as well, and he just drives right through him. Wow.
That was not intentional from what I can see there, as I just got a little bit crazy there coming out of hairpin, and hairpin's one of those tricky corners here where we do tend to have issues, and it did look as though just there, just up ahead of him, I honestly think Jones just didn't really think the gap would close like that, but you've got to realize that when you're coming in that late with a bit of a, I don't know, it's 50-50, so I might be kind of turned in knowing there was a car just about starting to become level with him. Now, it wasn't a wheel, which is kind of respectful, but at the same time, he was about to be there. You give him a bit of room considering what is at stake. He didn't. Should he have stuck his nose in? Hard to say. 50-50 racing incident.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave that up to the officials. Thankfully, they're not FIA officials, though, so they might get away with that. We'll see. But back to the front. Antonita is still leading 3.7, almost 3.8 seconds ahead of Kat, Edwards, and Leah Hughes. Pattinson in 5th. 6th, sorry. That's 6 cars. I don't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. That didn't work. Sorry.
Do you remember Kate Gate?
No.
Think Bathurst flying?
No, I can't remember.
Never mind, we'll talk about it after the broadcast, but yeah, good job they're not FIA officials, that's for sure. Anthony Cat coming down here, still being chased by Simon Edwards, Ken Halliburton with Claire Hughes, Ewan Patterson, and just behind that group, Daniel Hunt there too. As this one is definitely persisting forwards, but just doesn't seem as though they've really got the same sort of grunt power here in terms of making moves. Lap 12, we're not seeing a change. The gap to Fahim Antonidez is a whopping 3.7 seconds. They're going to come across the line now, and that gap's only going to go on bigger. He's out of the picture. He broke that draft. He cleared off into his own race, and as we look at it, it's going to be 3.9. So that's a pretty massive gap, and he's got 2 laps to do it, and it's all over.
He does. Edwards is getting closer to Cat though, and it's well, these guys are starting to spread out now come the end of the race. I don't know if that's down to tire wear or fatigue or what it might be, lack of concentration maybe, but it's split into 3 groups, and that's kind of the way we probably would have expected it to be, because there usually isn't an 8-car battle all the way to the end. Here comes Edwards, going to try and get the draft on Cat, unless he wants to stay behind up until the last lap. We've seen that being played out before, and behind him is Pattinson making move on Hughes. But here comes Edwards. He's going to want that second place. He's up to the inside, and he's going to clear Cat well before the corner. And Pattinson goes on the outside of Hughes. That's going to, sorry, Hughes to the outside of Halliburton. It's contact, but Halliburton's going to keep that 4th position. So only 1 position change to this. We've got a 3 wide behind him as well, between Hunt, Anderson and McRitchie, and that is going to be Hunt who gets the lead there. McRitchie gets past Anderson though, so they were lucky to not crash there, because I think there was slight contact, but they got away with it again.
Slightly, yeah, there was slightly there as they managed to keep that one somehow together. But right now that group still duking it out hard. Leach, Anderson and Hunt here. Going to move here by McRitchie, looking towards Hunt, but he's not going to be overlapping enough. Could be a good advantage here for Lee Anderson with some good run through the corner out of this final one. And he does go very wide here. We'll be on to this final lap, of course, this time by. Time flies at OKayama. It's absolutely a flyer, this place, and things end up very, very quickly. The group behind that was racing incredibly hard are not now, and this is the opportunity to really take this fight to Cat here as, oh sorry, to Edwards. Could Edwards hold on here? He's ahead now. Should be able to hold it into hairpin, but there's ways to attack back, and he'll have measured this one out, of course. He made that error last race, last season, but this time he has to go for the best run he possibly can on this lap, but just pray he holds on here. Take a defensive line and just make it stick.
Yeah, this is going to be what's going to decide this race. I don't think we're going to see much passes after this. It's going to be massive draft here now for Cat. He's going to move to the outside of Edwards, who's holding absolutely as far as he can to the inside. Halliburton is looking in there as well behind. It's Hughes as well, but it's going to be Cat who's leading. Oh, and he's going to hit Edwards. Halliburton turns Edwards in hairpin, and he is going to hit the inside wall as well. Wow.
Quickly look at that one, but looks as though Halliburton, well, Edwards got sideways there. We'll go back to the live footage here, but it looks like Edwards did get sideways before that. Right now, Fahim Antonidez coming through the final couple of corners. Anthony Cat is going to get a 2nd place here, as is Claire Hughes going to get 3rd, as Edwards and Halliburton both damaged after that collision. Taken out of the picture, who were looking to be, 2nd and 3rd here, but Well, greediness ends up begetting those who seek it. As out of the final corner, Fahim Antonides will come across that line in, and he slows down, of course, just to kind of make it rub in a bit more. And Fahim comes there in first place. Anthony Catt in second, with Clay Hughes in third. Wow, busy end to the race, but OKayama never disappoints, Linus.
It surely does not, and James McRitchie manages to get up to 6th from starting 14th in the end there. That's a massive race from him. Obviously had a few cars going off in front of him, but he had an outstanding race, getting 8 positions up there, so big well done from him. And well, that got a bit more exciting than I thought it would actually, and Simon Edwards, he has not crossed the finish line yet. So he is dropping well down the order. He's coming here across the line. He's going to lose one more position right at the end with a really broken car, so that's going to be P number 23 for one of our championship contenders. So this will probably be one of his drop weeks for this season, after a race which looked to go really well for him.
Yeah, absolutely did. Well, we'll go through your post-race results here. Fahim Antonides comes home with a win tonight, with Anthony Catt and Clay Hughes joining him on the podium. The rest of your top 5, Ewan Patterson and Ken Halliburton. We've got James McRitchie in 6th place, with Daniel Hunt, Lee Anderson, Andrew Leach, Pete Newman in 10th place. Matt Cox, Chris Morris, Daniel Tufts, Adam Powell, with Anthony Jones in 15th. Neil Jackson, Peter Parnell, Paul Smith in 18th, with Kieran O'Flynn and John Torpy in 20th. Most of those positions up on your screen there, as we are going to get a chance to talk to your race winner. But I do want to say, Linus, you pointed out that Anthony Jones, 56th to 15th, 40 positions gained there for Anthony Jones. That is a whopper. And speaking of whoppers, Fahim, you had a massive lead, and then you crawled across the line. Showboating or out of gas? It wouldn't be a start of any Monday Night Skippy season without Fahim having microphone issues here in the broadcast booth. Fahim, you got us? I don't think he does, Linus. Give your opinion. Showboating or gas?
Well, I think he slowed down just to make sure he wouldn't crash on those last few meters coming to the start-finish line. So
it's the most difficult part of the race. I mean, honestly, I've been in that many races where you've got everything. You've done every carousel, every corkscrew, every straight, and then it's that last maybe 20 meters to the line. It's the most difficult part of the whole race, of any lap. I mean, Le Mans is won and lost on that 20 meters to the line.
well, yeah, he stopped about 5 meters after the finish line as well, so I think it might have been showboating, but we'll see.
Probably could have been, yes. Do we have Fahim Antonides with us? No, we don't. So Fahim's still not going to talk to us. I think he doesn't like us, actually. He's returned to the podium and he's winning races again, and now he just doesn't want to talk to us. I mean,
hi.
Wow. Oh, we do have
There
him,
we go.
finally. Fahim, fantastic job. Round 1 with a pole, to a checkered flag. What was that end there? Showboating or out of gas?
No, I just wanted to have a bit of fun, really. I wanted to.
Showboating.
I was
got
hoping
it.
to. I wanted to stop right before the line and see if I could pip over before I got caught, and then I thought, no, you know what? Let's cross the line. and then,
Yeah, you do
and then
that and they
stop.
will just go past you before you can actually
Exactly.
accelerate. That's the downside to that one. But a fantastic race regardless. You seem to break the draft and just run with this one. Seemed fairly much like a time trial.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't put too much weight on it because last season a lot of the guys who finished behind me were running the full season using the old Skippy model. And because the handling of the car was a bit odd, nothing to do with the time model. The time model is still the same this season as last season, but they fixed the handling issues. And I think the guys who ran a full season were adapting their driving style to suit the what I call the broken handling. And now that the handling is fixed, I think they're going to have to readjust their muscle memory to the new handling now. So this gap is probably not a realistic one. It's probably going to close over the course of the next few races. And plus, OKayama is a very strong track for me, irrespective of people's different muscle memory because of the new time model, new handling, etc. But so it's a strong track for me. But I think it's an unrealistic gap, and it'll close.
Well, a very, very demure interview there from Pete Martinez. But you often are quite quick, and obviously this car was great for you back before the handling was broken, so would it not be unreasonable to say you'll at least still be up there, rather than your last season qualifying attempts in the mid-20s?
Last season, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't running much of the races, but also you had to. There was some kind of a hack for qualifying. You had to heat up your tires. You had to do donuts and all kinds of silly things to get the car tires warmed up enough to. And I just didn't know how to to do that. So my qualifying was bad. But obviously, as you could see through the races, when my tires were heating up and coming to temperature, I was able to cut through the field a little bit better. But, you know, this car now needs a lot of finesse, much more than the past season. So you've got to be very careful with your inputs. You got to keep the momentum going. Any slight mistake and you'll scrub off speed. It'll take you 2-3 laps to get that back. So it's the kind of Skippy that I love and miss. So hopefully you're right. This season will be a good one for the old guard.
Well, we hope to see that one for him. Congratulations on the win today, and hopefully on to new and more also winning-y things.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us. Well, Linus, it's been a great one tonight. We'll be, of course, as always, back the same time next week here on With the Skippys. Don't forget to check out links in our description to Calm, the Campaign Against Living Miserably, and Esteban Balayo's Track Pack for Gourmets, where you can get cameras like these ones and have sexy broadcasts. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week.